Velina Mai Kako. My name is Adriana Pyle. I'm currently a student at Honolulu Community College and a peer mentor at Hulili Kekukui Hawaiian Center under the Hawaiian Program. Today, our guest speaker is Leon Florendo. Uncle Leon is currently an academic counselor at the Leeward Community College Waiʻanae campus. We're very honored to have Uncle Leon today because he's an important contributor to Honolulu Community College. In the Hawaiian culture, we use a word called me'e. The word me'e means someone who is an important person, as in a hero or heroine. Welcome again, Uncle.
My honor. Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing a good job, Kawi. Um, Now we can relax.
Yeah, I know, right?
Good. But keep up the good work, and if there's anything in the future that I can do or support, please let me know. Because again, like I said, Honolulu Community College is my home. But going back to Leeward, Waiʻanae was an opportunity for me to go back and give back to the community that I grew up in, and so it was very hard for me to leave here, and I've been here and I didn't really share it, but I've been here for 15 years before I decided that it was my time to go, and I didn't even decide. It was just a position out in Waiʻanae opened up, and like I tell my students, there's only two things I knew coming out of Waiʻanae as a high school student was that I wanted to help people, and it was going to be in the community that I grew up in Waiʻanae, and that's all I knew. Graduating from Waiʻanae, going off to college, and, our path takes us in different places, different, and I kind of forgot about that, and it wasn't until my wife shared with me that there was this position out in Waiʻanae, and and the reason why she knew that was because I shared my dream with her one day, and she didn't forget, right? She said, "Hey, there's this position," and I always, every time I would go home and talk with my friends and my families, they would always remind me, and you probably get that reminder, yeah,
Yes.
of so when you coming back home, you went off to college and you doing all this wonderful things. When you coming back home, and my response to them was, you know, I'm not going to leave my job I have at Honolulu to come to Waiʻanae because I like what I do. And I told him, if a position like this ever opens up in Waiʻanae, I will come home. And a position out in Waiʻanae opened up, and I put in my application. And um, so 4 years ago, I left what I thought was home, and then I was going to retire here uh, to really go back home where I grew up. And I miss here. I miss the people. I miss my friends. I miss my family here. But our calling
Yes.
sometimes is not what we think it is. It's you just follow your na'au, and if you do things pono, good things happen. And for now, my journey has taken me back home. But my new home is in Kaimoki, so I drive from Kaimoki to Waiʻanae, back to Kaimoki every day, and I'm okay with it. So again, mahalo for having me, and I hope that this kuka kuka session will hopefully resonate with some of the students you folks work with, that we work with, and if it helps, then great, wonderful. But like I said, you know, uh, there's a lot of good things here. I feel a real positive spirit, and um, continue to do that. You guys are doing good work. So thank you again.
Mahalo, Uncle.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. But Honolulu has always been for me my home and where I call home. And but I have many homes, right? We have many homes. Uh, so thank you again for having me. So where do we go from here?
Okay. What have you been up to besides being a counselor?
A father. I'm a father, a husband, because Layla Lily started here at the Keiki Ha'oli Center when they were 3 months old. And that's one of the things that was special. My family grew up here. A lot of the faculty staff that work here saw my kids, came to the baby shower and saw the kids when they were 3 months and literally watched them grow until they went to kindergarten. And then Levi started here, but now he's at Alani. But it's still a school that's associated to Honolulu Community College, and And that's why I say, Honolulu Community College is not my workplace, but it's my home. It's my family's home. It's an extension. So it always has a special place.
How
So
many years have you contributed to the UH system, or just the community
yeah,
in
well,
general?
here I actually started here February 1st, 1999 was my first day on the job here at Honolulu Community College. So if we add that, I've been here for about almost 19 years
Okay.
in the UH system. But I also got introduced to the UH system through Upward Bound. So I was a residential advisor for the Upward Bound Math and Science at Leeward.
Yeah.
And then I was also an instructor. I taught SSCI 101, which is a self-exploration class for at-risk youth that were part of the Hawaii National Guard Youth Challenge program, and they had a partnership with Leeward. So my mentor, Ernie Libarios, was a counselor at Leeward, and he asked if I would come back and be willing to teach alongside him because we had a big cohort. So we had there was Ernie, myself, Ernie's son Nicky Libarios, um, and we worked with Youth Challenge, and so I worked within the UH system, kind of like part time as an adjunct here and there, but and that's how I began to kind of shape my academic advising skill sets.
So you would say Ernie who is someone who has influenced you.
Actually, I think I owe him my firstborn and my secondborn and the person that I am today. And actually call him my second father. He was like a second father to me, away from home. But the story, and it's an interesting story because I think one of the questions you're asking, one of the challenges I had to overcome,
Yes.
and why I have so much compassion for students,
Yes.
and but um, 30 years ago, well, back when was that? 1986. We're gonna go back.
Yeah.
I was a student at Leeward Community College. Um, I wasn't on financial aid,
Yeah.
and because my parents are Samoan Filipino, and my dad, being from the Philippines, he was a sakata. He worked in the plantation, and when I went to go ask him for his financial information so that I could go to college and for financial aid, he refused to share that information. It's kind of funny because a lot of times I hear that from students. My parents don't like tell me how much they made, but they want financial aid, right? I was like, well, you gotta share. But my dad, I guess back in the Philippines, it was if they shared their information with the government would take their money. So he brought that same principle with him. Yeah. So I couldn't get financial aid. Going through, so I had to wait till my dad got paid and whatnot, and so they finally got the money I needed to pay tuition, and but the downside was it was already the first week of school, right? So what happens in the first week of school if you never pay your tuition?
Okay.
And it's late registration, yeah. So you got to do late reg. But back then, there wasn't um there wasn't a payment plan. There wasn't like stuff that you could pay and then they're gonna purge you later, right? It was like you sign up for classes today, you gotta pay your tuition today, right? Or else they're not gonna sign you up. So you literally had to have a money in hand, yeah. So um, so I was sitting in front of the admin office, and I guess I looked pretty depressed. And this Filipino man comes walking by, and he just so happened to stop and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I looked at him. I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing too good." And he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" I said, "Oh, I want to go to school, but they tell me I gotta go see the dean of students." And I was like, "I'm from Waiʻanae, right? It's like going to the principal's office, right?" And I was like, "Who am I-" And then what's her name, right? Kathy Damien. I was like, oh my goodness. So I gotta go see this lady and this white lady. And I was like, I don't like go. I'm not comfortable and I all shame, right? So we're talking and he said, you know what? I'll go take you. We go see the dean. So he walked me to the dean's office. We go to the dean's office and then he's talking and say, oh, so how's this boy? And he go, oh, he's an A student. He's a good guy. And I'm thinking in my mind, I just met this guy 5 minutes ago, and he's already lying to the dean about I'm a good student, right? And I'm like, and she said, well, are you gonna go to class? You gonna pass your class? I go, yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to go to school. And then she said, oh, so Ernie, you gonna help him register? Ah, yeah, I'm gonna take care of him. I'm gonna register him for class. So after he said, she signed the paper. She said, okay, I'm going to authorize you to go to school. Right. And I was like, okay, we walked to his office. He signed me up for class. And today I'm talking to you, a faculty member with the University of Hawaii system now.
Yeah.
So it's that story that I always remind myself when I'm working with students who come with hardship that, you know, who knows what that student is going to be or do, given the right support and the right circumstances, and to have somebody who believe in them unconditionally and willing to help support them, and it's because of that and that I sit here today, because if you look at where I come from and my background, statistically I wouldn't be here. Yeah, so it's amazing what happens and the power of what a counselor or anyone working at the college can do for a student who is first generation. So I constantly remind myself of that, and I'm constantly grateful for those who have come before me and helped me to be where I'm at. So,
Um, Tell me a little about where you come from.
sure. So my whole name is Leon Florendo, and Fuimono is my mom's maiden name. So my mom was from Samoa, and my dad was from the Philippines. And my mom, believe it or not, was a picture bride from Samoa. And the story goes was that there was this Samoan lady playing matchmaker at the chicken fight where my dad was, and he said, "Oh, would you like to marry someone who looks like me?" And I guess my dad said okay, and then she made an arrangement. And it was interesting because I took an ethnic studies course in at Manoa, and they talked about Japanese and picture brides and all that. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought, oh, did you know that Samoans had picture brides too? And they were like, what? Like, you should write a book about Samoan picture bride because that's like unheard of, right? And I was like, nah, I'm gonna leave that for somebody else. But yeah, so I'm Filipino Samoan. I was born and raised in Waiʻanae. Graduated from Waiʻanae High School in '85. Went to the community college. Went to Leeward Community College. I graduated with my associates in liberal arts from Leeward and human services certificate. And then I transferred to Manoa in '88, where I joined a program called Operation Manong, which is today the Office of Multicultural Student Services. Um, and then got to work alongside Kua'ana Student Services and whatnot. So got my bachelor's in psychology, and then from there I got introduced to the Leeward Community College because I was working for Operation Manong, and we had a partnership with not Leeward, but the Kalihi YMCA. They were doing outreach programs, working with Filipino Samoan and Hawaiian kids in the community. And back then there was some issue around youth gangs and
Uh-huh.
whatnot. So they were doing so they had reached out to the university if we had students that could come out and work and part time, yeah. So our director at the time said, "Hey, we got the perfect guy for you. He's Filipino Samoan." And they're like, "What? Is there such a race as Filipino Samoans?" Because if you know the stories of Filipino Samoans, they're always fighting, right? And so I'm living proof that Filipino Samoans can coexist. So yeah, so that's my background. And and then I went to work for the Kalihi for 10 years with outreach, youth gangs, then became a substance abuse treatment counselor, and all that while I was uh, also working at Leeward as teaching. So my background, as a counselor with the outreach program with the Y, also gave me experience to then be able to work with at-risk youth or what we call my ethnic minorities, economically disadvantaged. So all those experience helped me get that job here in 2009 because I didn't have my master's degree. I didn't get my master's degree until 2006. So I started in 1999. So I had my bachelor's degree and I had 3 years of counseling experience. So that's how I got this job here, which is unusual because normally you don't get a faculty position with a baccalaureate degree. Yeah.
What was your position here when you first started in
So
1999?
1999. So I was hired as the Po'inanalu Native Hawaiian counselor. So that was my position here. Our office was in building 2, second floor. We had 3 offices. I was the only faculty. Um, I had no staff, but they said I could have student assistants because the the Alolike grant allowed for peer mentors. Yeah, and then there was also a talk about changing how we do Po'inanalu. Yeah, because Po'inanalu, when prior to me, under the direction, under the leadership of Robert Bacchini, who's now at Manoa College of Business. He's the director of student services there. Um, but he was the coordinator, and when he was doing it, they were doing outreach. They were working with high school youth, so from Roosevelt, Farrington, Waipahu, and stuff like that. So it was a program for high school students. But when I was hired, the dean at the time, the movement was we we want to work with Native Hawaiian students that are here. How do we support our Native Hawaiian students that are here? So so we revamped Po'inanalu to then address our current student body. So we started a summer bridge program, and that's when we would bring students in, and then we would. I think back then we offered a IS class, which is a self development class, orientation to college, and then we also offered helping Native Hawaiian students that were in remedial English, remedial math, to kind of help them get a head start in their academic career. Yeah. So did that for about 2.5 years, and then we got our first Title III grant. So back in '99, there was no Hawaiian Center. So what you know today as you know, um, this beautiful facility that you folks now have, um, came from humble beginnings, like everything else. Yeah. So we had 3 offices, 1 faculty, and the faculty was a grant-funded faculty position. There was no tenure track. Um, so that position was always year to year or grant to grant. So, and that's one of the reasons why I think people left, was because there was no job security. Yeah. So even when I left, it was because the Alolike grant started to kind of change. It was a 5-year grant, then it became a 3-year grant, and there was all kinds of stuff happening, and so then we got this new grant, this Title III grant, and then at least I knew if I applied for that position, I would have a position for 5 years. So what happens in 5 years, I don't know, but at least I knew for the next 5 years, if I got the position, I would have some certainty. And so our first Title III grant, we wanted to create a sense of place, was important. So that's where the Native Hawaiian Center came up. So the Hawaiian Center, um, and so under that there were other positions. My position was the college readiness counselor, Native Hawaiian college readiness counselor. So I did that for 5 years, and then we had to get another grant. So we applied for a second Title III grant. Um, and in the second Title III grant, I was the FYE coordinator. So FYE was first year experience. Yeah. So I was that coordinator counselor, doing that. And then it was in the second Title III that through the Puko'a Council, which also started like just a little before that, and through the Puko'a Council, we were able to get 5 positions, that, and it was 5 tenure track position, permanent position. So this whole having government, dependency for Native Hawaiian program faculty and staff was now, we didn't have to worry about grants to have positions. Yeah, so the Native Hawaiian counselor position became available. The uh, instructor, because prior to that we only had one instructor, Native Hawaiian
Wow.
tenure track. So there's Uncle Kimo, and in fact, Uncle Kimo was on my hiring committee. So I have to say mahalo to Uncle Kimo for hiring me or having the faith to hire me, and I don't want to make him proud.
Yes.
So um, uh, so Kimo was the only faculty. So we wanted to have another position. So then we wanted to another Hawaiian Studies tenure track. So we hired Ka'iulani Murphy. Because we started in our second Title III grant, we had the whole Keller program.
Yes.
We built our canoe, a beautiful canoe, Kama'uheheu, with the Title III funds, and to support our whole Keller program, and to ensure that we had to have a position, a tenure track, to ensure that that position will always and that program would always be here. So another position went there, another tenure track, and then we had another tenure track, and then Alapaki, Kumalapaki, or got into that position. So we started to, for Native Hawaiian program or Native Hawaiian initiative, started to, push for permanency, yeah?
Yes.
And then the fifth position was, well, the other position was an APT, so an administrative professional, technical position, and then uh, Jonathan Wong Kama was in that position, and then the other position, the last one was, do we make it another faculty position, instructional faculty, or do we make the Poinanalu coordinator, the CTE counselor position, a permanent position? Because the CTE program, which was the first program here, has always been under grant funded. Yeah, um, so the group decided that it's important for us to give some stability to our CTE Native Hawaiian Hawaiian students and program. And being that Honolulu Community College is the CTE capital or CTE college, whether people want to believe it or not, it's known as the Trade Institute, right? But we have a robust liberal arts component as well. But so so with that last position, we said we're gonna institutionalize the Poinanalu coordinator position, and that's the position Kale is in now. Prior to that, it was always non-tenured. It was grant funded, contingent on grant funding. So um, and today, not because of my work. I mean, I was blessed to be here in a period where there was a lot of movement across the UH system, and with my help and people like Jan Peterson, who was the dean of the UC College at the time, um, Jonathan Wong, Keala Chalk, Kimo, Alapaki, Kaiu, Akamine, who was the before Calais, and Kaiu Murphy, and Bob Perkins at the Marine Center with the help of Nainoa and the Polynesian Voyaging Society. We've created such a robust Native Hawaiian program here that how could they not support it? Yeah.
Yes.
So um, it took a while, but we have what we have because of all that stuff that happened in that short period of time. So, like I said, the Native Hawaiian Center or the Hawaiian Center, Hulili Kekukui, that nurture that light of knowledge, yeah, and the woven bowl that was created by a CTE Native Hawaiian student that was working for the program, and she was a communication art student. That was one of her senior project to design that, and she came up with that whole concept and the light beaming out of the bowl, and why she could create it any kind of ipu, right, any kind of bowl, right, but she said she wanted one woven bowl because of how the different programs and the different people have to be woven together to work to ensure that this place is successful. Through the Native Hawaiian program, and as we were growing as a program, it was always hard because, when we grew, this campus is only so big, yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to well, not take, but we were given bigger space to do our service, and in doing that, people and programs had to get displaced, and
Yes.
people had to get um, they had to downsize, yeah, and um, they got, people got upset at the Native Hawaiian Center and the Native Hawaiian program because we had all this money and we could pay students good, and and we had programs, and we needed space, and they had the space, and so they had to get downsized, so they got all nuha at us, and so we really had to kind of malama and kind of like do stuff to kind of recultivate, that relationship on campus, because there, as much as we were doing good for our Native Hawaiian students, but not just our Native Hawaiian students, because we malama everybody who came to the center, right? We were under the pressure, because our Hawaiian students not gonna just come by themselves, right? They're gonna bring their friends, and what if their friend not Hawaiian? You know what I mean? You're gonna tell them, oh, sorry, brother, you gotta stay at the door. You know what I mean? And but we've always said, Hawaiian always aloha everybody, yeah. We hanai everybody, right? And I was hanai, and my half brother is Hawaiian, and whatnot. But so, we always say, they always had that, and there are other ethnic minorities that have similar cultural practices like Hawaiians. So when they come to the Native Hawaiian Center, they feel like they're at home as well. So when we talked about creating a sense of place, we're talking about creating a sense of place for Polynesians and Polynesians alike, because then or like Micronesians, people that can understand the extended family, right? That you come to school not on your own, but as one who represent your own, and everybody's looking to you for, that you're gonna be that gem, right? You're gonna be successful, right? And you're carrying your family's name and kuleana and whatnot. So, so that was that. So we moved from our 3 office space in building 2 to the 4th floor in building 7, and we had 3 big classrooms. So we went from office, like little cubicles, the size of Kale's office. And so imagine this, you're just gonna have Kale's office, and you're gonna have Kahele's office, and you're gonna have Debbie's office. That's the 3 space, and that's the whole program to support Native Hawaiian students at Honolulu, right? And now we're getting 3 classrooms, right? So we had that, and then we stayed there for a little while, and then the campus had ideas of like doing different things there, so we had to displace some other people, because then we moved to building, what is that, 21 or
20.
so 20, building 20. The old Cent was the old Cent building, so we had to displace the Cent people. They got mad at us, damn Hawaiians, whatever. I said, no, it was not us. Go get mad at admin. Wasn't us. We just the messengers, right? So, but we became good friends, and we rekindled all that, and we malama everybody, and but and then the latest move is here, yeah. So again, we moved around campus and we grew, and all that, I gotta say, would not have happened unless we were doing something right, yeah, and we were doing something pono, and because of that, it was almost a no-brainer that we get these spaces, because we were making such a great impact on student success, student persistence, retention, all the things that we want, right? And recruitment, right? So more students were coming, more students were feeling a part of, more students were succeeding, and why not? I mean, because if you create a place where people feel that they belong and they feel comfortable, then they're gonna come back.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe that's why you come back too. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So.
Any advice to the lahui of Honolulu Community College, or just any student who's trying to be successful in education?
I think the biggest thing for me is you gotta believe. Yeah. You gotta believe, and you gotta have faith in yourself is one, and then no scared to ask for help, because you have all this. Yeah. You have all this services around campus. There's tutoring. There's computer labs. There's mentoring programs, and like I tell students, you don't use it, they're gonna take them away. you know, this wasn't here 20 years ago, you know. And if you go a little bit further back than that, there was nothing, you know what I mean? So services for Native Hawaiian students, for minorities, have come a long way. Yeah, um, so take advantage of those opportunities, and I think like for me, I sit here and I talk to you as someone that you guys say have is a hero who have contributed to the growth of Honolulu Community College. But you know, I think it wasn't just me. I mean, there was a lot of people, and and if I didn't use the lessons of asking for help and going out and building relationships, and having people that I could bring on my canoe to help me do what I need to do to become successful, to become the person I wanted to be, I wouldn't be here. I mean, because as much as I had mentors, I had to meet them halfway, you know. And you know that working for the center, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
you have students come and they tell you all these stories. I want a college degree. I want to do this. But if you don't have action, then you just wow, yeah.
Yes.
So aside from believing and speaking it, because when you put it out there, that's powerful. Because then now people can hold you accountable, yeah. And so so my message is simple. Know what you want to do, believe that you can get there, find the people that can help you get there, and then just cultivate those relationships, because that's what got me here. I mean, it wasn't because I was the smartest, or I came from a wealthy family, or educated family. Like I said, my dad was a plantation worker, my mom was a picture bride. I we didn't have money, but I met people like Ernie, and his son Nicky, and and because of their belief in me, and supporting me and giving me information. And it was Nicky that actually introduced me to Honolulu. He was a counselor here, and he said they were looking for a Native Hawaiian counselor, and they're looking for somebody who can work with minority youth and whatnot. And they said, we want you to apply. And I would have never thought to apply for a position here. But because they had a belief that I could do something before I could believe myself, it's just amazing. I mean, it's so surrounding yourself with good people and resources, taking advantage of that. I mean, to me, that's the key to success. Yeah. Um, and then again, in the end, you got to believe that you can do that, because people will believe in you, like how you believe in the students that come in.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to believe in themselves that they can do this, and they're not willing to commit and commit to action, then it's just a belief. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's my little manao for today.
Well,
If there's
I
anything
think you
else,
answered all my questions.
I did. Okay.
Without me having to ask them, and I hope that
I'll
your
read your
words-
paper, so you send me something, so that was good. You prepped me. I wish all my students was like that. Give me stuff so we can be prepared. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so make sure we give our students information so that they can be prepared. So mahalo to you.
You're welcome. I
for
hope
that.
this interview helps out the future students, or students that are coming back, or students that are returning, because we all can relate to not having money, being in the Hawaiian system,
Yeah.
scared to use the support that we have,
Right.
and then just someone that we can relate to, and hope it inspires everybody else.